Sorry.
Yeah, hand to Tony. Kill the music successfully. While you're just finishing up with dessert and coffees, let's reintroduce Eric once again, who in turn you can introduce the rest of your team, and we can hear about the new product after we're listening. Then we're all going to go outside and actually watch and see how it is applied to vehicles out there. So, Eric, thank you very much.
I want to thank everyone for coming out and taking the time to listen to me talk for a few minutes, and hopefully you'll have a good meal here at the Rusty Pelican. I brought Gabriel Barker. He's our marquee account here in South Florida with the Sign Savers. They do a wonderful job of installing our film over at Prestige Miami Lamborghini. The collections picked us up, as well as Coral Gables Mercedes-Benz. And so we started off on the High line, but just to let you know, we sell just as well in Kia and Honda and Toyota as we do Lamborghini and Ferrari. To give you a little bit of background on XPEL, we've been around since 1997. We were partners with a company for a while out of Minnesota with 3 M's in it. And we left them because they wouldn't make the product any better. And so in 2007, we went on our own and launched our own film. Before, we were a software design warehouse. And to date, we have over 85,000 different patterns in our library where anyone can cut on demand without having to cut on your car when they're putting this film on. Do you have a question? Oh, you would. So, just from a show of hands, how many of you are familiar with the technology or a product like a paint protection film or clear bra? Okay, so you've seen it before. What it makes us unique and why we can finally come down here to South Florida is we launched a film in April of 2011 called XPEL Ultimate. What's unique about our film is that the film self-heals. You get fine scratches, or let's say a really good example, you went to the car wash, the person drops a microfiber on the ground, puts swirl marks into your paint, and then puts swirl marks into the film, 20 minutes out here in the sun, and all the swirl marks will go away. Uses a technology called elastomer polymers, and it has high flow within the top coat. So the film looks better longer. In addition, to set a standard for us and for us to really be able to sell throughout the United States and globally, there were 2 main problems that we had to address. In Colorado, they put on the road magnesium chloride. Now, mag chloride is probably the worst stuff to chew through your paint, and in most films it would chew through. And in Florida, it was love bugs. And so when we engineered this film, we designed it for that. And so you can have love bugs sitting on the car for days and days and days, and it won't fry into the film, it won't etch into the film. You can just take a hose and blast them off. Also, common problems down here, sand and construction work. I'm sure you've been behind many a big truck or loader that's bouncing little rocks or gravel out. And this saves your car. For high-end cars, it protects the value of the vehicle. You know, if you make someone who bought an exotic, you know, 100K or above, there's a certain, you know, when they go to resale value, they might get nicked 2-3 years down the road, saying, you know, I like the car, but I got to do some work to it, or you actually had to repaint the car, and people say, well, what was wrong with the car? To date, we've got 90 employees. To give you an idea of our growth, in 2010, we did $4 million in sales. Our last rolling 4 quarters, we did $35 million in sales. And so this is really picking up at the dealership level and for the individual customer, particularly the enthusiast that really cares about their vehicle. So we have people protect their Ford Focus STs, because it really means something to them, as well as on the extreme side with like Prestige Miami, virtually every car that they sell has a product on it. From a penetration standpoint, Mercedes Club, BMW Club, Ferrari Club, Porsche Club, and Lamborghini Club, we were very active with and have been endorsed at many different events by them. Porsche of North America uses us exclusively at all 5 ports. They put the film on to protect their track cars, their media fleet, their loaner fleet, and their executive cars. And we've had that relationship for a number of years. And we're starting to see more of the manufacturers pick it up, protect their media fleet. So next time you get a Ford, you'll see our product on it.
Media fleet?
And some other manufacturers I can't talk about yet because we haven't just inked the deals, but it's happening. Is there any questions right off the bat?
Eric? Question, if somebody did want to take the film off, suppose they've had their car for 2 years.
Yeah.
peel the film off, does it leave anything on the paint itself?
We made a less aggressive adhesive, so a lot more of the adhesive will pop off with the paint. Usually what someone will do is they'll heat up an edge with a heat gun or a hair dryer, and then you want to pull towards your chest, and they'll pull most of the adhesive off with the film. As opposed to peeling.
It doesn't actually fade the paint or anything?
No, you get an even fade. It's backed with a 10-year warranty. This film lasts a long time. And so we cover the film and the labor. So if you move away from Miami, and you move to, let's say, Wyoming, we've got an installer base to cover you, nationally as well as internationally. We sell to almost, I think, 40 countries now.
I have two small questions. One, how much it costs, more or less? Can you give us an idea?
Okay.
And the other one is, because we write in Spanish, we have audiences in Latin America.
Sure.
We have operations in Latin America.
In Mexico, Brazil, and a few other places, although it's still in Latin America a little bit nascent because people just don't know about it. That's one of the reasons why we wanted to come to Miami, because this is kind of a gateway for it, as well as building a better presence in the East Coast for New York and Connecticut, because the snowbirds have their homes down here. So the cost, smaller kits, you could see people that would replace like on their trucks. Remember the little visor that goes up on the front that you might bolt on your car? You can get a kit for $199 to $249 that basically replaces the old bug shield that you would put on your truck. Now you can get more in-depth packages. The standard package would be a hood fender mirror bumper, which is your full bumper, 24 inches to 30 inches up the hood with the matching fender line in the backs of your mirrors. And depending on the installer and what part of the country you're in, it'll range between $750 to $900. You know, big financial centers, larger cities, a little bit more cost to it. Now, very common package of what Prestige does is at least a full front clip. So your full hood, your full fenders, your bumper, and your mirrors, and that'll run anywhere from $1,800 to $2,200, depending on the car and the complexity of the car. And then full cars will range about $5,000 to $6,000, and you would be surprised how many people wrap their entire car. And as we've seen the evolution of the product over the last few years, the owner that had the clear bra the first time that did a partial, maybe they weren't so wild about what they say, the line going across the front of the hood, or they got the rock chip right above where they protected their vehicle. They'll take it all the way up. Our sales penetration is extremely high, of course, on the higher end cars, but where we really see the enthusiasm is with Corvette owners and Porsche owners.
What is the cleaning process of the paint protection film?
You don't have to do a whole lot to it. We make a purpose-made sealant, and the main ingredient in that sealant is a wax. It's what you find in windshield acrylic. And that fills in any kind of pores that would be left over in the urethane on the clear bra. Now, if you look at our product versus anybody else, if you talk to our chemist, it's cross-linked a lot tighter than anything else in the marketplace. Some of the demos that I'll do is I'll take Rust-Oleum or Krylon and spray paint the bra. And I'll bake it on with a heat gun until it's nice and dry, and then I'll pour lacquer thinner on it or acetone, and I'll remove the paint completely without any ghosting on the film, and it's still good to go.
It's a product that you sell actually then?
Yes.
All right.
And so you would go to someone like Gabe, and Gabe would sit there and cut out on it. He has a plotter with a computer hooked up with a live internet connection. He just downloads the pattern, it precision cuts the pattern, so you don't have to go to someone and worry about do they have a shaky hand, are they going to push through the film and cut the paint in my car, which totally defeats the reason why you're going to do it from the get-go. And then we have a number of installers throughout the U.S. who are factory trained. It's a 4-day intensive class from 9 to 5:30 each day. We tell them to bring a t-shirt, jeans, and a good attitude, and we're going to work on it. And they show up, and we have an assortment of different bumpers that they practice on, and what we try and get them to do is conceptually understand the principles of how the film behaves, be able to look at a front bumper, identify where I should begin, where I should end, and try and get it to lay down as naturally as possible, and they have the problem-solving skills and the know-how to get there and get it done. And they've been doing it for a while, and they're pretty efficient, or they wouldn't be doing so many Highline cars because the customers are so demanding.
I guess I've got a more of a question for you.
Sure.
Do you have to be careful to wrap the leading edge around the surface? Or is
There's different ways of doing it. What we do is we always add a half-inch bleed across the entire product so that we can tuck as much as possible, because a lot of times our customers, the high-end customers, don't want to see the edges. So that's why we tuck in on all the corners, which is.
Now, I was actually thinking about, would the Edge be susceptible to a combination of high speed, wind, and rain? If you're gonna go, say, from here to...
Not the way that we do it, because what we do is we try to tuck into the edges, and the edges that come right to the line, the adhesive is good enough where you don't have any issues. I mean, when we're doing them on these cars that do 150, 160 miles an hour, we haven't had any issues with the material being bad.
Actually, my wife does that every day.
So does mine.
Bill, you're a racer. We can't advertise this. About 80% of the NASCAR teams use our product. They put the film on the car for multiple reasons. One, it's high-end real estate on that car with the corporate sponsorships and logos on the vinyl wraps that they put on. Two, aerodynamic purposes. If they smack each other and a panel breaks loose, that film helps hold it together so they can move down the track a little bit faster.
Well, actually, you just answered my next question was gonna be, is there an aerodynamic drag on this, but if NASCAR...
They say, and people make claims that this kind of product will give you maybe a half a mile an hour advantage when you're cruising around 200 miles per hour.
More.
Yeah, because
So less
the
drag
film
than
can have just tiny little dimples with the same kind of thought that the golf ball has when you hit it.
Yeah.
But, you know, we do make matte black, gloss black, and gloss white, and those films have true automotive paint suspended in the film. It's not vinyl. We're able to give it a much longer warranty, and it has a very, very high gloss level. In addition, we can take your normal car that's a gloss paint, put our matte finish film on top of the gloss car, and it'll change it completely matte. You don't have to go buy the matte paint job and spend the money and have to worry about how do I take care of this, because if you get a scratch, you can't buff it out. So you can commit to the matte look, have it on there for a while. When you're ready to sell the car, you can peel the film back off, and it's much more appealing to sell that gloss car because there's only a certain subsegment of the population that says, I want a matte paint.
Two questions. How long bumper to bumper take to wrap the car?
Bumper to bumper, about what, 3 days?
3 to 4 days. Yeah.
3 to 4 days.
Yeah.
Okay, and the second question, regarding about insurance purposes, what happens when you change the color and the insurance, I have an accident or something?
It happens all the time at body shops. Insurance calls up, the body shop just quotes a price, and it's always taken care of. It's part of the car.
So there's no problem?
No problem.
I saw something like this in a new Toyota Corolla.
Yeah.
Are you putting already new cars?
Oh, all the time. So, a lot of dealerships sell this as an add-on accessory.
Okay.
The customer wants to protect it. The best time to sell it, or for the best time for someone to buy it, is when it's brand new. You don't want to have a whole bunch of road rash on the front of your car and then try to stick it on.
So this is being offered in dealers?
Yes. So how is it sold at Prestige?
Usually it's an upsell for the dealerships. It works out because it's an extra product that they can offer their customer, and they usually sell it through there. They include it into the financing, so it works out for the customer at the end of the day because they don't take that big hit. On the Lamborghini side, it's a little differently. Typically, they don't really finance these cars. They typically just write a check or wire the money. But we deal with a lot of dealerships where they include it into the financing, and it's kind of like a package. They have an addendum on the window, the same way that they'll offer you chrome plating on the emblem, stuff of that nature. They'll have paint protection.
Are you still doing business with Tropical Chevy?
Yeah, we do a lot of stuff with Tropical Chevrolet. On pretty much 99% of all the Corvettes that come out of there, they get paint protected by us. That's
How
what
long
happens.
have you been here, man?
How long have I been here? Yesterday.
I've been here for 35 years. Yeah.
But I mean,
Brand new company.
It's getting to the point, the hotel I go to, the valet already knows who I am. So I've been here for a month and a half this year alone, and we see a tremendous opportunity for this market from Orlando all the way down. Miami is just another level when it comes to the kind of cars that you see here. I'm all over the nation. I'm in, the biggest financial centers are San Francisco, LA, New York. There's just more of it here, and the people are super passionate about their cars, and you guys have been very well neglected because it's very surprising to see the few hands that say, I know what this product is. Go ahead.
You mentioned a little bit earlier, as far as the maintenance, like when I wash and detail my car, what do I use on the clear product?
You can just wash it any way, all way that you do. In terms of the wax, you want to use a purpose-made wax. Well, not necessarily purpose-made wax. There's two products that you don't want to put on your clear product. A wax that, when you read the side of the can, it says it has a petroleum distillate, or it says flammable, or naphtha is included in the wax. The petroleum distillate will get into aliphatic urethane. And I don't care if it's our product or anybody else's. And when people say I've seen a clear product discolor or yellow over time, that's usually the reason why it's happened. So a Caranuba wax, no dye, or the wax that we sell, you're just fine. So, McGuire's makes one of those, Mother's makes one of those. It's easily accessible to be had. And it's just, You got to treat your bra just slightly differently than you treat your paint finish.
So you work with a fixed catalog, or I can customize it in any way I want? As
Yeah,
far as
well,
styling?
you can go to a guy like this and say, I want to put stripes down the middle and then put, matte finish around the stripes, or well, I'm going to do matte stripes, do the rest clear, and maybe put some designs and graphics. You can really customize what you want to do with this. And he has the ability to go into our software and let's say I want to do a 1/2 inch wrap or a 1 inch wrap, or instead of doing a straight line across the hood, I want to put a bikini line, maybe 2 inches or 5 inches deep. Single mouse click for him, and then cuts it out precision, so it looks very clean.
Not that I would ever do it, but I mean, you mentioned it's also applied to boats. What about airplanes?
You have to get FAA approval, but I mean, the film does work on airplanes. We've had some people put it on, not that we recommended it, put on the nose. I just saw one yesterday, the Learjet, that they put on to protect the radar system.
None of which is trying to reduce drag.
Well, the colored films came about because you want to save weight. You think about how much weight of paint is on a Boeing 737. If you can do the color film, you can cut 500 pounds worth of weight. What does that mean for your fuel savings if you're Southwest Airlines? Yeah.
Okay.
I think we're pretty well done here. If anyone else has any other questions for me, I'm happy to tell you about everything that we do. I guess the next step is to come outside and see the film being applied on the Lamborghini.
Great.
Yeah, so this stuff is a lot more. Yeah, the technology is coming to take stuff up.